Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are doing another tropical update, and some pretty big changes have happened since yesterday. It actually seems like the models and ensembles are showing two tropical systems, both that could be a threat to land, especially that second one, which we're a little more uncertain about because it's farther out, but the signal is still there, so still making a video about it. If you haven't watched yesterday's tropical update, make sure to go watch that, as it's still very important after this video. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So the main thing of this video is disturbance 2, which now has a 60% chance of forming, and a tropical depression could form late this week or over the weekend. Now, this seems like it might go a little more out to sea, but some ensembles still do show it getting closer to land, but it's still going to be a marine threat to the United States. But the system behind that, most models show either going into the northern Caribbean, by the Bahamas into the Gulf, or up the East Coast and making landfall somewhere there. So that second system is really like the ensembles showing all those systems hitting land, like all this ensembles showing a tropical system hitting land. It turns out that is not this system, but actually a system behind it. So, but this is still a threat, and it could be a threat to Bermuda. So we're going to be talking about this too. So the models for disturbance 2 have shifted a little bit eastward, but I do think we could see it impact Bermuda or go near it. So definitely the potential for tropical storm impacts if the system does pass near there. Disturbance 1, I don't expect to form. Maybe a weak tropical depression, but no tropical storm watches or warnings, because no tropical storm at least impacts for the coast. I don't think that will form. And Dexter is currently, while the wind speed is higher now at 50 miles an hour, it is moving off the coast and soon will die. But yeah, so overall, disturbance 2, I do definitely think will form, and um, conditions right now are pretty favorable. I mean, they will start to deteriorate, and tropical cyclone development and strengthening conditions will not be as favorable next week. But even then, I do not doubt that we could definitely see a tropical system, especially with the increasing signals in the models and the agreement. Because usually, again, we only have the GFS showing this, but even more this time, the ECMWF, the European model, which has been way more accurate this year, has been showing this way more. And it's actually the first system that the ECMWF has really backed up this year, which means a European model. Let me get rid of that. But anyway, the Climate Prediction Center, week 2, we have 2 areas of potential tropical development. So these are, again, 2 systems, like I've been saying. And the Climate Prediction Center, even though this is a low chance, this is technically oops, sorry. Anyway, the even though it's only a 20% chance to a 40% chance, usually most things that the Climate Prediction Center model marks does form. It's just that it's far out, so they're going on the lower end. But they really haven't marked back in June. There was models, at least the GFS was showing a lot of systems. They didn't mark any of that, but now they are marking these 2 potential systems, which shows there's a real risk for them. So anyway, this main one with the 40% risk, that is the 60% marked by the National Hurricane Center. But this one behind it, and as well as this one in week 3, these 2 could be related. This is that potential system that could end up going towards the East Coast or even into the Gulf. Some models have even shown it going into the Yucatan and into Mexico, but I do not think that one's going to happen. Hopefully not, because I've gotten enough. And yeah, but I do. But models have shown something that could go into the Gulf or potentially up the East Coast. Now, again, it's still far out, but the models are definitely signaling it. So moving on, let's actually go into the models, and to start off, let's look at the favorability of systems forming. So day 0 to 7, right now, we're we have that. Remember, we have that current 60% area. Conditions are very favorable with the sinking air, rising air. Sorry, rising air. I'm pretty sure it's rising air. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, brain fart there for a second. But the rising air, this is the MJO phases, by the way. Currently rising air over the main development region is going to favor tropical storm development and strengthening, and tropical and like hurricane development and strengthening. Though, as we get into that other system, going to days towards days 12, 10 to 12, which is around when this is going to be forming, we're going to have a bunch of sinking air over the Atlantic, and that's why I'm a little more uncertain about this. Now, very strong storms and plenty of tropical storms can form during the sinking air. It's not like, oh, you have sinking air, so that means no development, no strengthening. No, that's not at all what it means. It just inhibits it a bit. So this is definitely a reason we might not see a very strong system or a system at all. But even with this, the GFS and other models are picking up on something. So that definitely means we could see something strong. It will inhibit it a little bit. Now, let's actually go to what the GFS model is now showing. So this right here, you might not be able to see it. Here, let me mark it in a different color because the background, this is kind of red. This right here is what the current area of interest is. As I'm aware, this is not an invest yet. I'll check in a second to see if we can look at it. But as I'm aware, it's not being invest yet. But yeah, GFS actually does not really show that one forming. And it does not really show any systems. Now, that's not really in part due to that sinking air, because even at this point around hour 123, we still have rising air, so it's very favorable. It's just the GFS has backed up on this a bit. Now, while that might seem like, oh, it's not going to form, again, the GFS has been less accurate this year. And at the beginning of the year, they kept showing big tropical systems, and even just regular tropical storms, they kept showing that did not form. And the GFS also hasn't picked up on many of the weaker tropical systems this year that we haven't really been able to forecast. But the European model and ECMWF and all of its, like the AI model, the ensembles, they've been picking up on it. They've been very accurate this year, and usually they're more accurate. And all the systems this year they didn't didn't form. The ones they have picked them up on did form. And even though the GFS isn't really showing anything, the Climate Prediction Center is. That means I'm leaning more with the European model solution. But even then, with all this, you can't really see it. It's very weak, but we do have a low level circulation here, and that's not even like a tropical depression. That's just a really weak area of circulation, but it does show something, and you might be able to see it a little bit better if I go to precipitation. No, not really. Yeah, it just shows a really weak system, and same with that. With the one right here. Now this is 6Z. Hopefully when the 12Z comes in, we'll have a better run, but this is an outlier run. 0Z did not show anything like this. Now, if we do go into the ECMWF model run, okay. Anyway, so their 6Z is loading, but we don't really use that. But we got an hour 90, nothing really yet. Nothing is expected to form within the next 90 hours. But if we switch that to 0Z, hold on. Let me refresh this, y'all. Okay, that's deciding not to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here, and here we're going to go into the European. Actually, let me cut it real quick. Sorry for that couple seconds there, y'all. I'm back. I fixed it. I was just on a 1 hour parameter, and that only goes out to 90 hours. I should have cut it earlier, so y'all don't have to see any of that. But anyway, moving on. So looking at the European model, we do see they are picking up on weekly on that current system. They also do see that disturbance 1 will form very weakly. Not weekly, but like a potential tropical depression, maybe extremely low in tropical storm. But either way, it would not impact land. But they do also show the other disturbance 2 forming. Again, they're showing it very weak in this run in 0Z, but the ensembles are still picking up on it. But after that, the European model is picking up on that second area, which is shown going into the Caribbean, as we see, and then it likes to go towards land, and as we see somewhat of a tropical storm there. If we can actually get really close to the system right here. If we go to the wind speed in miles an hour, we do see tropical storm force winds for Cuba and the Bahamas there. It's a very organized tropical storm. If I can actually zoom out a little bit, There we go. We do see. So again, this orangey yellow and above is tropical storm force winds. So we do see tropical storm force winds, a very defined wind field, and I can something we can actually forecast. So like here, if this like this faint yellow. I mean, there's wind friction here that might prevent that lessen the winds a bit. But anywhere in this like light blue is what the ECMWF shows getting tropical storm force conditions, and that just shows going into Cuba, and it weakens a little bit. Obviously, it's going over Cuba, but if it doesn't stay over it, it could definitely go into the Gulf and hit land. But then again, this is very far out. This is just one scenario. It's changing every run, but it still shows the system, and that's what is really concerning. If we go to the wind gust swath, we do see major hurricane force wind gusts. So maybe here it's showing, here it's showing actually a full on hurricane, and it weakens, but then it could definitely re-strengthen. So there's definitely at least a tropical storm force threat, at least depending on where you are, according to the ECMWF. Again, it is still far out. We got to watch, and this might not even happen. But the fact that models are consistent on it and the ECMWF is showing something is very, it shows something. Now, if we go to the AI model for this new run, which actually has been pretty good this year, I think, if I'm aware, it does not really show that other system. I mean, if we can clearly see up here that there is nothing, and if we could go out more, we do see. I mean, it does show that other system forming right here, the tropical disturbance 1 that would only shows it becoming a tropical depression, but it does show that other system here forming. So if we go back to the Caribbean here, it becomes a tropical storm around here, and again, it's around mid orange, so around here are the tropical storm force winds. So pretty disorganized. The models kind of have a bias. They kind of the models are really only showing the tropical storm force winds on the north side, even though it's still a very organized system. More than likely, even though the southern side doesn't get as much, it's going to be much more evenly spread. I do believe that's just usually how it goes. But we see again, it gets more evenly spread, and it does head towards the East Coast. And it's more evenly spread now, and it does show an extremely large tropical storm wind field. The hurricane wind field, though, there is no hurricane force winds in this, but definitely that shows something. So the models are very consistent on this, and we'll be able to watch. But even though this is far out, it's 360 hours out. I am in no way saying this is going to happen. I'm no way saying this specific scenario is going to happen, but the fact that the models have been showing this for a while and are consistent, and even the Climate Prediction Center notes it, is something, because usually the Climate Prediction Center won't note it and people make a video about it, but no official agencies have noted it. But this is duly noted. It's just, I think the most uncertain thing on this is timing, but it definitely could be a threat to the United States. And if we go to the Canadian model, the last main model, they're one of the only ones that actually show the actual disturbance 2 becoming a tropical storm, as you see here, 45 knots. Sorry about the cut there, but anyway, like I was saying, the Canadian model is one of the only models that actually show the current disturbance 2 becoming a tropical storm. Now, in terms of the future system, it does show it right here as a tropical depression that just formed, but again, it doesn't go out far enough to see the rest of that. Now, before we go to the GFS and European ensembles on this other website, we're going to look at the European AI model ensembles. We do see here. So basically, this is, and also by the way, right now this is the first time I'm ever using this parameter, but we can see the pressure markings down here. Good rule. Really, again, models like to show lower pressures and then have a high, like I said yesterday, like a model will show like 950 millibars, like the ECMWF, and it will be like just a Cat 1 when that would be like a Cat 3. So even though 990 to 1,000 HPA is usually a tropical storm that can be pretty well organized. When models show it, it's usually a tropical depression or just a low. So my good rule of thumb is green. If it is at least green, it's a tropical storm, and if it's at least blue, it's a hurricane. And if it's and same for this, but these lower three can all be majors. So just when models show it, for what I've noticed, that's not technically true in real life. Really in real life, this gray can be a tropical storm, green can be a hurricane, and anything below, and blue can be a hurricane, and all three of those are major hurricanes. But I mean, with models, because models are a little different. Sometimes they like to do their own thing. But anyway, with the AI ensembles, we do see a lot. Not a lot showing disturbance 2 forming, but that future system, we see a lot of ensembles showing it. And you see how the vast majority of them get them really close to land. All of these show at least tropical storm conditions for land in that system going towards. We do have a good amount going out to sea, but that even can bring a Bermuda threat. And you got to remember the consensus still shows us getting close to the coast. So where this exactly goes will be uncertain because it's so far out. Like even if it starts trending off the coast, because it's far out, it could very well just as easily before it happens go right back trending west. And if it trends west, it could right back very easily trend back east. So this is really we'll just have to see how it goes. And we do see you can see better all of the potential tropical systems and what could happen. So very wide area of potential outcomes. And as you can see here, it's actually a little more west. So it's a little more east than last run. Actually, no, I think it just shows more. Yeah, no, there's more ensemble showing it than last run. It's just a little more spread out. Can we go to the Canadian? I didn't even know the Canadian model had ensembles. Let's go. And what? Yeah, Canadian model ain't showing anything. But Canadian model we don't really use it. Actually, it does show something, but I don't think it's actually related to the system. We never use that model, so it's okay. And like I promised, we are going to check if the G if in if the if the 91L has formed. No, 91L has not formed. So anyway, we're going to go back to what else I was doing, which is we're going to look at the GEFS active tropical cyclone probabilities. So if we go to Florida tropical storm probabilities and we do see that the ensembles up to day 10 aren't really showing much, but to be fair, we don't really expect the system to form yet. If we go to tropical depression probabilities, we also see that it doesn't really want anything to form off the coast with disturbance 1. So nothing there. But you also got to realize that the GFS is kind of backed off on this. But yeah, if we go to the CMC, same situation with there. But yeah, nothing much there. Now let's actually go to the GEFS and EPS individual ensembles. So enough dilly-dallying. Let's actually go to these. So we do see a good amount of the ensembles actually do show that disturbance 2 forming. They don't show them forming until around Bermuda. So that could be a tropical storm risk, or at least conditions there, but really not much support for that. Now we do see that second potential area, a lot of ensembles show it. Some show it arriving as first as 9 days, and others don't show it arriving until like 350, 60 hours out. So we do see a good amount of ensembles. If we actually get closer here, we do see a good amount of ensembles show it actually coming through the Bahamas into Florida, and some show it going towards Texas, Louisiana, into the Florida Panhandle or Big Bend, and a good amount show it going up the East Coast. And if we actually go to the East Coast here, we do see all of those. Now, again, this is far out, and we actually have to see what happens. But overall, we're still anything could happen. Now, if we go to the tropical Atlantic and see all the ensembles at once, we do see tons show it coming through Florida and a lot show it going up the East Coast. We also do have some out to sea scenarios, but we see how the majority of these are going towards the United States. So that's definitely very concerning. And shows this definitely being a considerable land risk. Now, if we go to the EPS ensembles, hour 144, we don't really see much yet. But we're because obviously 144 hours out is not that far. But if we see how they don't really show the disturbance 2 forming, so we'll see what happens with that. But we see the immense support for the European ensembles showing the second system. We do see a good amount show going up the East Coast, but most of these like get really close to the East Coast, probably give at least tropical storm force impacts, or even going into Florida or the Yucatan. So that's definitely going to be very concerning. We compare that to the 12Z of yesterday, real quick. Pretty similar scenario. Actually, there's actually been an uptrend in support, it seems. So that's definitely very concerning. We'll see what happens, but it definitely a considerable risk for the East Coast. Okay, so and final thing, absolutely final thing, we're gonna look at two things actually. Tropical storm risk. We do see the European model does show a considerable risk, at least for this far out, of tropical storm conditions. So we'll have to watch that. And the control MSLP does show something going through towards the United States. Now, if we go to the 0Z MSLP, which was the last video, we do see it was trending much stronger, but this run is definitely an outlier. So definitely a risk for the United States. Much of, at least a tropical storm risk for much of the United States, the Caribbean, and even Bermuda. But then again, this is still far out. It might not happen. It might be a major hurricane. Anything in between, definitely going to be something to watch. So, but anyway, y'all, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and leave any comments in the comment section. If you have any questions, make sure to like, subscribe, and watch my other videos. If you haven't, I should be posting another video tomorrow and even making a preliminary winter forecast soon, as well as tropical updates every day. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed and have a great day, and bye.